Artober Learning Labs!
On today's Artober Learning Labs, we are featuring Oz Arts Nashville for a very special Artober STEAM Fusion. We'll join Madeline in performing a picture book, and then Joy will show us how to dance a dialogue.
Hey guys, and happy Artober. My name is Maddie Hicks, and I am brought to you today by Oz Arts Nashville with this learning lab on how to read a children's picture book. Now, right off the bat, you might be wondering, why do I need to learn how to read a children's book? I will tell you why, because learning how to read a picture book for kids is going to help you build those public speaking and communication skills, and those are going to serve you no matter what you do in life. So maybe you are going to be a teacher or a librarian, or maybe you want to be an actor or a news anchor. Maybe you want to manage your own business. These skills are going to apply to whatever you do. I am a local multimedia artist here in Nashville, Tennessee. I mainly work in theater and filmmaking and puppetry, but I am also a children's librarian as well. So story times are my favorite part of the job because I get to combine my love for the arts and performance with my love of stories and education. So I'm super excited to share that passion with you guys today. So now it's time to read a picture book, and we're going to imagine that we're reading it out loud to kids. The very first thing we're going to have to do is select our book. So one of the first things you want to consider is the age group that you're reading. So I do story times for babies, for toddlers, for preschoolers, all the way up to middle school. And you better believe that my choice in books is going to vary depending on what group of kids I'm reading to. Another thing I like to consider really early on is diversity. I'm about to show you guys a real bummer of a graphic here to explain why this is so important to me. So this is a chart from 2018, so just 2 years ago, showing you the diversity in children's books. So still, 50% of our characters, at least our main characters, are white. Then 27% are animals or other, meaning unicorns or fairies. 10% African American, and then those percentages just get smaller and smaller and smaller with other minority groups. So you are more likely to find a children's book with a bear than you are a person of color, and this is something that really needs to change. And that is why in my picture books and any kind of books that I'm sharing with kids, I like to be considerate that we're representing lots of different types of people. The next thing I want to consider is this book engaging? And the first thing I might do is to just look at the cover. I know they say don't judge a book by a cover, but when you're reading out loud to kids, a big part of the reading experience is the illustrations. And so I'm looking at this book and seeing, wow, we have this really cool illustration style. It's colorful, it's attention grabbing. There are themes of nature and science, and this is going to be a book that's going to be really rich for a read aloud. You also ideally want to pick a book that has sort of like a rhythm or a rhyme to it so that there's a good flow. So if you see a paragraph this long on every single page, it's probably not going to be an engaging read aloud book. Now, for the sake of our demo here today, I have selected a picture book considering all of these different factors. So this book is going to be engaging, it has a nice rhythm to it. There are a lot of opportunities in this book for action, which we'll get to as we're reading, meaning there are things for the kids to do as they're listening. There's some good representation in this book, and some interesting themes we can kind of explore after reading the book. So now that it is time to read, the first thing we're going to have to do is hold the book. And there is actually a right and wrong way to hold a picture book in the library world. So we never want to read a picture book to kids like this. We're not going to read them want to hear me and they can't see the pictures, they love to see the pictures. As uncomfortable as it is, you're actually going to hold the book like this. And if you're a pro, you're going to be able to do it one-handed, which takes some practice. And that way, as you flip through the book and read it out loud, you can rotate it, you can show the pictures, and most importantly, your audience is going to be able to see your eyes and your face. So if we want to keep our audience engaged here, we need to have expression. They need to see the book and the pictures, but they also need to see you enjoying the book and the pictures. All right, so we're ready to read our book here. The first thing, of course, is we're going to read the title, and we're also going to read the name of the author and the illustrator. So I would start this story time by showing everyone the cover of the book. And I would say, now this book is called How Do You Dance? And it is by Tyra Heder. And we want to make sure we're speaking loudly and clearly. And we also want to make sure that we're varying our inflections and the volume of our voice. So one trick I like to do sometimes when I'm reading is to bring my voice down to a whisper, especially if it's maybe a suspenseful part of the story. Or you can raise the volume of your voice and get the attention of your audience that way. So we want to be enthusiastic, we want to have some vocal variation, and we want to have fun. Because guys, if you're not having fun reading the book, no one's going to have fun listening to it. How do you dance? Like this? Like this? Like this? I don't. And at this point, I might ask the kids, hey, why isn't he dancing? And they might have some funny responses. We might make a prediction here. Everybody's having fun dancing, but he says he doesn't like to. We might raise some curiosity there. I do. Rick does too. Go Rick, go Rick, go Rick, go Rick. Mags beckons. Koyo bops. Gilda flits. Aurora scrunches. CJ makes a face like something stinks. Ooh! And John looks right at you. And the kids love acting out the different dances here. Super fun. And kids will let you know if they can't see the pictures. So you can really take your time showing them the pictures there. Just move a part, then move another. Let it get weird. See where it goes. And to make this kind of a performance-y theater exercise here, I might tell them, okay, so if you were going to lead a dance with your hand, move your hand first. Everybody try dancing with your hand first. And then I might say the same with your nose. What if you move your nose first? Or your ears? And let them have fun with that. Face, fingers, knees and toes. Maybe you have no bones. How would you dance if you had no bones? Maybe you are made of metal. Squeak, 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 squeak. Maybe you shimmy because you made something delicious. Hey, maybe you don't want to dance and just want to eat dinner, okay? Okay. No dancing during dinner. But you could dance. After dinner, at the market, at the bus stop, on a break. Good days, rainy days, sad days even. Sometimes you just need to flop around until you feel better. And right here, I might ask the kids what they do when they're having a bad day, what makes them feel better. Try some new moves. The jiggle, the swivel, the flap, the slip, the scribble, the middle, the zappo, the zip, the mister, the sister, the poodle, the scoot, the sneak, the windy, the tootle, and the nothing. Oh, how do you do the nothing? You just do nothing. Fine. The poot. Go high, down low, fast, then slow. Dinos, robos, horsies, dads. All together in the dark. Enough! I don't dance like that. I want to be left alone. Understood. But just between us, how do you dance? I just told you. Alone. So he does like to dance. He just likes to dance alone. And then I always close the book, say the end. And with my real little kids, I might say, give yourselves a clap, because they love clapping at the end of the story. And that is an example of how I might read a picture book. So you guys probably noticed I really like to play with my voice, and I really like to incorporate movement and get some of their energy out, and it also connects them with what's happening in the story. And this is one of those stories you could take kind of, very simply and literally, or it could kind of raise questions about, oh, so have different people maybe have different comfort levels or energy levels. They might like to move and express themselves in different ways. So there's a lot of different things you could do with that picture book. All right, guys, well, I hope that you had fun and maybe got some good tips today. I challenge you to pick up a picture book and give it a try. Maybe read it to a kid in your life or even a friend or an adult, and happy reading.
Hi everyone, my name is Joy, and thanks to MMPS and Oz Arts, I'll be leading you through a STEAM activity using movement and our bodies as the main vehicle. Now you're probably thinking, what is STEAM? STEAM stands for science, technology, engineering, arts, and math. The mission of STEAM is to provide you with knowledge, experiences, and skills needed to solve problems of the 21st century as you move into college and your careers. One of the ways we do this is by looking at how different subjects and disciplines can share similar goals and processes. Today, we'll be looking at the arts and how it can connect to the other letters in the acronym. There's a couple of things that you should know about me before we get started today. I'm originally from Dallas, Texas, and Nashville is the third city that I've gotten the pleasure to live in. I love to dance. I even got my degree in it. I got something called a BFA, a Bachelor of Fine Arts in Dance. I'm currently a professional dancer with a contemporary dance company in the area called New Dialect. Despite what you might be thinking, you don't need to be professionally trained to move your body. Dance is natural in all of us. Now let's get moving. Today, we're going to dive into the mind of a choreographer as we challenge ourselves to create a short dance. The choreographic process is unique to every choreographer. They can use a wide variety of approaches and may choose one predominant method or combine several. This could include hearing music that completely makes an idea come to life, or experimenting with movement that leads to more exploration. A choreographer may have vivid ideas for a new work. However, translating this imagination onto dancers' bodies and shaping it into a dance that is ready to be performed is a very challenging, yet equally rewarding process. You'll need a few things for today's activity: comfortable clothes to move around in, a pen and paper, and some open space. For this lesson, we're going to focus on facilitating movement for our pieces through a written assignment. First, we're going to take a few minutes to create a conversation between two characters that are in relation to one another. From there, we will follow a choreographic process I have specifically designed for you all to help you build a movement dialogue that reflects this conversation. Pause this video and take a couple of minutes to write down a dialogue between two characters. Let's say one of the characters has some news that they want to tell the other character, and the conversation is the reaction to that. Let's keep the conversation between 10 to 15 lines. Keep in mind a couple of things. The news can be exciting, or sad, or happy, or serious, and the characters do not have to be human. Let your imagination take you anywhere and everywhere. Now that you have created your character dialogue, we're going to focus on a 3-step choreographic process. Step 1's purpose is to originate fresh movement material. Step 2's purpose is to organize the new material into phrases. Step 3's purpose is to arrange all of your ideas into the main composition. Step 1 is all about generating movement. This can be done through exploration, experimentation, or improvisation. The way in which a choreographer accumulates movement material depends on the process they are most drawn to. It may be simply a question of creating variations within a known pattern of movements. Think of the dance vocabulary you already know. Maybe it's through social dance, a routine you made up when you were younger, or even TikTok. Or maybe instead, you could create a vocabulary and style of movement to suit your own personal visions. Let's stand up and experiment with that all together. Step 1 is all about generating movement for our dance piece. That can be done through improvisation, exploration, or through familiar movement. All together, we're going to experiment with 2 social dance moves that I think that we're already familiar with. We're going to work with the whoa and the whip. So let's just familiarize ourselves with the whoa. And then let's see where we can take it from there. We can bring our arm back. We can bring our arm to the side. We can change our position. We can move it, make it locomotive. We can take the action of the whoa and put it in a different body part. We can change the quality of the move, so instead of it being hard, it can be soft. We can add repetition to it and take it different places. Good, keep going and experimenting and exploring that. Good, keep going for a little bit more. Good, and come to standing. Nice. Let's experiment with the second dance move, the whip. Good. Let's try to take that at a different level, different speed, or different quality, just like we did with the first dance move. so we can change our direction. Again, we can move it. We can put it in a different body part. We can change the quality. Good, and come to standing. So now that we have all the tools that we need for step 1, let's move on to step 2. I've given you many tools in order to create movement for your first step. For step 2, we want to start to organize the movement we just experimented with and put it into phrases. A phrase is a series of movements bound together by a physical impulse or line of energy and having a recognizable beginning and end. There must be some kind of logical connection between the two movements that prevents them from appearing so isolated. It may be that one movement flows easily and naturally into another within the phrase, or that there is some clearly visible pattern to the movement. Step 2 is all about taking that exploration that we played with in step 1 and applying it to this step to make a dance phrase that's solidified. So let's think about that first step that we explored, the whoa. So some of those things that we explored was putting it in a different body part, moving it around, taking it low to the ground and up. Let's try to make that into a dance phrase. So an example of that would be maybe bringing our arm up, bringing our arm down, going around, switching it, bringing the other arm up, all the way back down, hitting it with a different body part, coming back up, going around, maybe taking the whole thing to the left, hitting a different body part. So connecting all of those things is what we call a dance phrase. That's what you want to take from step 1, exploring movement that doesn't have any beginning or end, and putting it into a phrase that does have a beginning, middle, and end. Once a phrase has been constructed, it can be built onto in many different ways. This can include, but not limited to, repetition, accumulation, imitating it on a different scale, embellishing it with other movements, taking it at a different speed, or making the phrase a different movement quality altogether. You want to select movement that you liked and think will go well with the character dialogue you created. Then you want to synthesize or combine those movements into one. After that, you want to make sure you have a complete structure that you will present as your dance. Let's stand up once more and see how we can connect step 1 and 2. So now that we have put together some dance phrases, I want to give you a couple of tools so you can change it up a little bit and make it make sense with your story. You can change the level, go down or go up. You can roll to the ground. You can take a turn, you can move it. You don't have to just stay in place, you can move with it. You can change the quality of your movement. So instead of it being sharp, you can take it super soft. You can close your eyes, you can change your head. Your head also gives a good indication of what is happening in the story. Your facial expressions give a good indication of what happens in the story. So just make sure that you're trying to incorporate those things so that it can make sense with what you're trying to tell your audience. The third phase of the choreographic process, creating the overall structure of the dance, may be influenced by a variety of considerations, including the purpose of the dance. If the work is to be a narrative piece, the plot will obviously determine the way in which the dance material is to be structured. It may have to follow a strict succession of events, create characters in a particular order, and bring the drama to climax at the proper moments. Movement usually develops organically even when the overall structure of the piece is imposed by a plot or piece of music. Take an in-depth look at the phrases and dialogue you've created to make sure the structure makes sense and flows well with the storyline. You want to evaluate, refine, and edit the framework you've already built. Here's a look at my finished product. Mr. Owl, I've got something to tell you. What is it, Squirrel? I'm sleeping. Okay, I've got some news, but I'm not sure if you're going to like it. You can't possibly tell me anything worse than our situation is right now. What do you mean, Mr. Owl? Squirrel, look around. Our house is a mess. Your clothes are everywhere, you don't wash the dishes, and you're always late on rent. I'm sorry, Mr. Owl. I had no idea I was being a bad roommate. Well, never mind. You might actually like this news. Just spit it out, squirrel. I'm moving out. I found an amazing new tree, and I've already started decorating it. It has lots of space, rent is cheap, and the best part? I get my own bathroom. You're moving out? No, don't leave me, squirrel. Don't worry, Mr. Owl. The good news is you can have your own space now. And you want to know the best part, Mr. Owl? What, squirrel? It's the tree next door. Now, let's do a quick recap. The choreographic process is unique to every choreographer. Choreographers can use a wide variety of approaches by choosing one method or combining several. You want to make sure that your finished product can be effectively translated to the stage and is clear to your audience. Don't be afraid to move out of your comfort zone to generate movement and create something distinctive. Now that you have all the information to make a well-organized dance piece, I challenge you to record your story just like I did and then create movement using the same 3-step process we followed in this video. Well, it looks like I'm all out of time. See you for the next STEAM lesson.